Hello and welcome to May. It is the 1st of May today, and here in GB, we are having the hottest day of the year so far. Truly fantastic. So, for those of you that are watching this on catch up, it's great to have you. I really hope you're going to enjoy this session today of our Coaching Bites for Busy People. I'm Teresa Hargreaves, and I'm your business coach from We've Got This. Today, we are exploring the world of Gen X meeting Gen Z and leading across the generation gap. So, this is me. I am, as I say, Teresa Hargreaves, and I'm a business coach. Outside of that, I have my partner in crime, the gorgeous Black Labrador called Rolo, and he helps support me to grow in so many more ways than ever I thought was possible 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I've become an outdoorsy person and we do all sorts together. Like this morning at 5:30, we were down on the beach walking in that beautiful sunrise. It was fantastic. So I like to push myself wherever I can to be the best version of myself. So therefore, I don't only talk the talk, but I walk the walk with the things that we may talk about together, you and I. I support a wide range of industries with coaching and mentoring, with team talks, with mindset motivational platforms, from manufacturing and engineering to education. I do a lot of work with head teachers and with educational trusts, to solopreneurs in network marketing, having run my own network marketing business for the best part of 7 years and building an absolutely tremendous team. I work alongside social enterprises, fundamentally with mentoring, and then, of course, collaborations with recruitment and sales teams, having had an illustrious career within the sales world for over 25 years in the food industry. And then I have some very trendy clients also within PR and marketing that, I'll be honest, make me feel very old, which is just a perfect way to segment us into Gen Z, Gen X meeting Gen Z and leading across that generation gap. Wow. Where are you? Where are you on the scale? Are you a baby boomer? Are you a Gen X? Are you a millennial? Are you a Gen Z? When did all this even start to happen? When did we start to have these names? And I guess it comes from the era of baby boomers, who are now somewhere between 80 and 60. We then have those that were born between 1965 and 1980. These are our 60-year-olds to 45. So these are the people that will be probably planning their retirement now. They will either be coming close to it and thinking, what do we need to do? Or those that are, we're not far away now. However, the government keep changing the goalposts. And then we have the millennials, the 1981 babies up to 2000. And I would say probably the bulk of the workforce these days. But we've got this younger, much younger mindset coming through. So in the younger millennials and into the Gen Z. And I think we're probably all finding that there is a bit of a conundrum when it comes to how do we all mold together and work in a way that is going to get the best out of the team. And we often hear, we catch ourselves, especially as older ones. So I'm a Gen X, I was born in 1974. So we catch ourselves saying, well, we didn't used to work like that. We would have done this and we would have done that. And there's been some awful phrases out there about the younger generations, calling them snowflakes and that they don't have the resilience that we had. Well, that might be the case, but there might also be more strengths that they bring that we need to be open to, and therefore work together to find out the best way that we can actually get the best out of each other. So let me just use the example on the bottom, where we see many years ago, we would communicate through smoke signals and then pen and paper. And then we moved to the telephone. And do you remember we would dial the telephone round and it would take forever to put a number in? Then we moved on to fax machines. Then it got automated through the internet with emails. And now we're all on things like Team and, like today, Zoom. So let me just read you this. So let's meet John. John is a baby boomer And he remembers being taught how to answer the telephone, the rotary telephone. And he was trained that he must say, "Good morning. My name is John Smith. How may I help you?" There was a definite way that you answered the telephone. There was a definite way that you came to communicate with people. There was a bit of a script. That was the gold standard of professionalism back then. And he also recalls waiting for the daily paper memo to be typed up and pinned onto the staff room notice board. It was their version of Teams. Then came the fax machine. As Gen Xers, we were thrilled. By Jove, you could send documents in minutes, not days. It was revolutionary at the time. But do you remember you would have to sit through that beeping, beep, 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 dialing up connection and adapt to the first bulky desktop computers? They were huge, not like these wonderful laptops that we have now. There were no training manuals. You just pretty much used trial and error and got on with it. But then the millennials, then we really started to see some changes. We had the email revolution. Suddenly communication was instant, but also constant. It helped to drive the shift to flexible working, which today we are so far further forward in what we're doing. We also had cloud-based documents and shared inboxes. They adapted into Facebook. I have to admit, I was one of the last adopters of Facebook, and instant messaging. But this blurred the lines between professional and personal. And that's something that we really see today. It's very rare you see somebody with two phones, a work phone and a personal phone. And now we're with Gen Z, sorry. They're using emojis in work. Gosh, our baby boomers wouldn't agree with that. They have Teams, voice notes, and real-time documents that they collaborate on. It's second nature to them. And they may well say, why email when I can voice note or drop a message in a shared channel? So it's interesting, isn't it? Each generation may have been suspicious of the next tool, but we all adapted. We've all been on that journey, and this is just with regards to communication. We want to feel connected. We want to be able to respond and feel respected. And we want to be able to communicate with ease. So therefore, adopting what is coming with change is so important. It's interesting, isn't it, when you think back to where we've been and where we're going. Evolution has to happen. Change has to happen. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow in our final Coaching Bites on Friday at 12:30. So there's a lot on this slide, and I apologize for that, but I just thought it was really interesting to just have a look at why there might be these differences and where there might be some breakdowns in communication. So I'm looking at baby boomers and then Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. And down the left-hand side of the table are some key things that fall within the workplace that we might find that there's a bit of confusion or miscommunication or where we don't necessarily align. So if we take, for example, let's have a look at a Gen X, so my generation. We had economic shifts, we were more latchkey kids, but we also saw the real start of the internet coming through and real technology starting to embed into our society. Fast forward to a Gen Z, and they are social media savvy, AI doesn't worry them, climate crisis they've had to live through, but they've also having to live through the pandemic. So there's a real mismatch in what's gone on there. The Gen X's were a resilient bunch. We sort of got on with it. If you look down to work attitude, we were pragmatic, adaptable, reliable. Our word was our word. If we said we were going to be somewhere, we were there. Not necessarily does that happen in today with the younger generations, but that's not their fault. We need to stop blaming the different generations for the things that they did. It's been evolution, and we've all played a part in that. Look at the mental health row. Again, if you look back to the Gen X's, We were cautiously open. You didn't always go to the doctor. It wasn't a thing. You didn't just go for anything. And with regard to mental health, we sort of kept in, pulled our socks up and got on with it was the phrase. But we did have a growing awareness. Whereas today, the younger generations are happy to talk about their mental health. They need to talk about it. There's much more awareness, and society is driving an openness to this, which is fantastic. Because at the end of the day, if you have a mental health issue, it's just as bad for some people as breaking a leg, as having a physical health issue. And we shouldn't dismiss it. But at the same time, we should build resilience around it. We should understand it. And we should also probably set some parameters so that some people will understand what actually is normal life and what can be expected. And there's that bit, isn't there, about where we need to become uncomfortable in order to grow, and therefore encouraging people to feel uncomfortable and not automatically let their maybe less resilient side come in, because through being uncomfortable comes tremendous growth. Let's have a look at leadership views. So baby boomers absolutely respected hierarchy. There was a level within work. We then moved into a little bit more value autonomy, and we loved to bring results through, very much target driven. I was very much part of that community. And then moving through to the millennials, where it was a little bit more collaborative and doors were started to be opened, and we started to see a little bit more of some flatter structures coming through. And today, Gen Z are expecting more inclusivity, less hierarchical models. And who's to say that that's wrong or right? It's an area to be explored and then work out what is right for your organization. And at the end of the day, what drives all of this is trying to get the best out of each and every colleague, each and every individual, and building the teams through their strengths to deliver the results and the goals of your business. And let's not forget, especially those of us at the older end of the spectrum, we've raised the ones at the younger end of the spectrum. So we do need to take some responsibility for that. We raised them. It's interesting, isn't it, when we look at children that are in primary school that were born during the pandemic. Their parents have had an impact on who they will become as an adult, and we're yet to see that. We shouldn't just blame society. We need to take responsibility. So therefore, if we see something we don't like, we did maybe potentially play a part in that. But that's okay. We can adapt and change. And who somebody is today isn't who they need to be in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years' time. And let's remember, so for those of you who didn't do very well in your GCSEs all those years ago, if you're part of my generation, you maybe have built a narrative that says, for example, if you failed your maths, I'm no good at maths, I'm no good at numbers. This isn't who I am. I'm not a numbers person. Well, you've built that narrative, and therefore, because you have built a mindset that says you're no good at numbers, you don't allow yourself the opportunity to improve. However, if you shift that mindset into, I have a skills gap that I want to improve with numbers, and I can do numbers because I can do my bills at home, I can go out to a restaurant and work out the money that I need and the change that I'm going to get, although it's all on the credit card these days, but you know what I mean. So therefore, be careful of the narrative that we are putting onto our younger generations. Be careful of what we're telling them that they are, because that's what they'll become. We need to take responsibility for looking after each other, and therefore we need to connect. Connection at the end of the day is why we're here. It's what gives us purpose and meaning to our lives. And when you look at the 5 pillars of good well-being mental health, connection is in there. It's such a key pillar. And meaningful connection is so important. So, what can we do? Well, there's lots that we can do in the workplace to help to support all of us and to help to move from frustration to fascination. People are people, and we've always been fascinated by other people. Some people like to gossip and chat and discuss and watch other people. Some people like to stand back and be quiet and observe and take it all in. But within us all, we are fascinated by each other. So bring people together. Use and encourage curiosity, not judgment. So, for example, in your team, you may have a cross-section of generations. So it's really important to try and see things from different viewpoints. So therefore, if you are a leader, try and encourage that. And think about the wording and the language that you use around that curiosity so that you don't bring in judgment. Bring in open questions. Use phrases like, I don't necessarily see it that way, so please help me understand it better from your viewpoint. Because there's a lesson to be learned, and there's also a halfway house where you can agree and where you can find compromise. You may well need to really dig deep for some tolerance and patience, but be open-minded. Allow different viewpoints in and explore. Nobody is right or wrong in many, many situations. There's a way that you can explore and maybe take a little bit of a younger generation's viewpoint and a little bit of an older generation's viewpoint, put them together, and you're going to come up with the most amazing solution. And we can learn from each other so much, can't we? So when we skip to the other side of this little diagram and we look at generational exchange workshops, these are fantastic. So this is where you'll come together as a team. You might have a problem or an issue that you need to solve or an exciting project that you need to get going. You might have a situation that needs to be looked at. Well, look at it from everybody's viewpoint. Try and find where each person is coming from, and then work out what's going to work collaboratively to make the shift and to drive the results. It might be that you want to do something like this and just to hold some lunch and learn sessions. So maybe choose a topic and have a little debate. Bring some lunch in if you're all in an office, or again, you can do it over technology. Do it the old-fashioned way and sit round a table with your lunch boxes. Do it the new-fashioned way through a screen, and maybe choose a topic and just debate it, just talk it, explore. And it can be something as simple as, I don't know, it doesn't have to always be work related. It might be something like, tattoos. What's everybody's view on tattoos? It may be something like, what's everybody's view on company cars? What's everybody's view on whatever? So just explore different ideas and be open to seeing it a different way. And absolutely within this, you can facilitate open, non-hierarchical conversations. It doesn't matter where you are on that management scale. It doesn't matter if you see yourself as a top senior leader or somebody brand new into the business, just starting your career. When it comes to understanding, finding collaborations and growing to achieve the company goals, have those conversations. Who knows what you might learn? If anybody's ever read Alec Ferguson's autobiography, so remember I am not a sports person, but his autobiography is fantastic. He was one of the greatest, I believe, football managers of all time. But he always took time to have a conversation with anybody and everybody. He would walk into the building in the morning and know everybody that he passed. He would talk to the cleaner, to the lady behind the desk, to the person that's polishing the trophies, to his team, to the footballers, to the youth groups. to the alumni. And work out then what's your preferred style and ask people what are their preferred style. How do they like you to communicate? How do they like to be approached? What do you like to do? And it might be that you want to set up a team workshop to work that out. You may need a facilitator, somebody like myself, to help you do that. But by moving and looking at things openly across the generational divide, you will absolutely grow and build your teams, your department, your business together effectively by working to people's strengths, by finding a way to fill those gaps and to achieve your company vision together with a happy workforce. So I ask you, what small step could you, your team, maybe your business, take to improve generational understanding this month? What small step could you take to open those conversations and to really understand who your team are, what their values are, and how one generation can help and support another to bring together the most amazing collaborations? Please let me know, even if it's just on a quick message through LinkedIn, through Messenger, through email, or do you know what? Why don't you pick up the telephone and give me a call? Let's do it the old-fashioned way. Together, we've absolutely got this. If you'd like to know more about what we offer and what the business is all about and who I am as a coach, please use this QR code. It will take you directly to the website. Feel free to give me a telephone call. So look at that. Telephone me or QR code me. There's two generational divides, aren't there? And we can see from this slide here some of the things that we offer within We've Got This, whether that be from individual coaching and mentoring to working together to help build the team, be your team's cheerleader and motivate them to be at their best, to individual workshop sessions on ensuring that you don't burn out, and then also individual accountability support. But shall I tell you the thing I love doing the most? Building a bespoke program just for you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is all about coping with change in this crazy, crazy world right now. And how do you deal with change within your business? You might be faced with some really difficult decisions. So let's come together and see if we can find a way for you to shift that mindset, to embrace what is happening and to move forward in a positive way. Thank you for joining me today. I really look forward to your feedback and enjoy this wonderful sunshine. Take care.